In this lesson, we will be examining the major Arcana cards 6 through 10 of the Spencer Tarot. Card 6 is the Lovers, and most people love this card. I was born the day before Valentine's Day, so relationships and romantic love has always been something I've enjoyed. I consider myself a helpless romantic. However, this card is often misunderstood. This card is not always about romantic love. It can be. So this card can represent romantic love, marriage, or divorce. But it really is about the ability to synthesize dualities and oppositions. When we get into any relationship, be it romantic, be it just friends, be it family, any relationship, we are always dealing with not always seeing things the same. We all have different views on life. We all have different things. And it's about teamwork. It's about coming together and unifying for a greater good. It's sometimes about sacrifice. Sometimes it's about learning from someone else. And this could also be self-love, because we are both divine masculine and divine feminine. We are both good and evil. We are opposites in our own nature. And when we realize and unify that I am one, and I'm all those things, that is very powerful. In fact, to really have a true, excellent romantic relationship, if you're coming at it like I am complete and perfect in myself, and I'm choosing to share my life with someone, that is a much better attitude than I'm incomplete in myself and my partner completes me. And what's fascinating about this, even though my parents were married 63 years, this old thinking of you get married and your partner completes you, that you're incomplete in yourself, is sort of what I would say 1920s through 50s mentality. Nowadays, with all kinds of openness of sexual identity and how we choose to live our lives, we don't need a relationship to be about getting married and pumping out children. Now, that could be part of it, but now true relationships are about, does this person enhance who I am? And if he's complete or she's complete in themselves and you come together, you're going to have a better union. And that's what this card talks about. This card of Lovers is, can you see things from another person's point of view? Can you honor someone who's different than you? This is a hard lesson. And I have to admit, even though I've had some wonderful romantic relationships in my life, I lost my partners due to death early in life. My first partner died when I was 25. We were together 10 years. And my second partner died in my 40s. And what I've learned from this is there's parts of myself that were parts of my partner. And I grew from those relationships. And isn't that what a great romantic relationship does? We become different, we grow. For example, with myself, my first partner was way more extroverted than me, and he was way more adventurous. And I'm sort of the hermit, and I like quiet. He got me out of myself, and I did things that I never thought I would ever do. I went on in hot air balloons over Quebec. I did things I never thought I would do. And you grow from that. And so there is that part of me, even though I consider myself a quiet introvert, I do have an adventurer side, and my partner was more a science guy, and I got him in touch with his creative, softer side. and so forth. So this is what partners do, and we might have that with our friendships too. Maybe we have a friend that's complete opposite of us, but we grow from knowing that person. Or maybe we have siblings that are completely different. It's very interesting right now. I have five siblings, three brothers, and I'm sorry, three sisters and two brothers. And my youngest brother and I are completely different. He is a very adventurous Sagittarius. I'm a very introverted Aquarius. But you know what? We are growing in understanding each other, and I totally admire my brother. He is an amazing father, and there's things I can learn from him, and vice versa. My middle brother too. I mean, we're a little bit more alike, but he's a little bit more of a science guy than I am. And all my sisters too are all completely different. I have they're all beautiful ladies, but they're all very different. And, we grow from, learning different things about different people and different beliefs. And that, again, is what The Lovers is about. It's about, can you synthesize dualities within yourself or within a relationship? That means if you're in a relationship and you're having challenges, can you compromise? Can you hear the other person's point of view? Can you give in a little bit? Can you balance polarities? Can you balance those opposite ideas? This could be also, dealing with people of all ages. So this can be, lovers can be, your kids, and like your relationship with them or a relationship with your grandparents. But it also tends to be romantic relationships. And usually the cards around it in a reading will tell you that. If you see other cards that are representing romance or things like that. So you'll know. Okay. And again, this card is about balancing and teamwork and unification, coming together for greater good. Card 7 is the Chariot. And I admit it is a card that I need to work with more. The Chariot represents travel, movement forward, new environments, adventure, time for change. It also can mean career change, taking on new projects, taking on new hobbies and new passions, and the ability to multitask. It's interesting that in my youth, and specifically 20s and 30s, I did quite a bit of traveling. As a child, we had family in Florida, and we would go back every summer to Key West and the South. And in my 20s, I spent a lot of time in the South, New Orleans and Savannah, Georgia. And I took trips with my partners to all through the Caribbean and Hawaii and Canada and South America and things like that. And in my 30s, went to all through the UK, which I love very much. And then the world changed. We had 9/11, and then we had COVID. And most of us as a human race got more into having to go inward. And that was fine with me because I'm an introvert. I like being in my home and just being quiet. And now that things are opening up, I find it interesting, like that I'm not as motivated to travel. And that's something I need for growth in my life. So I'm kind of doing it little by little, just kind of testing the waters and things. One thing that came to mind very strongly was this idea of, I think of Ben-Hur and the Chariot, and it's just like having this power to just have speed and swiftness and going places. And so that's sort of what I went to. And I know that's not a typical Victorian image, but epic stories were very much part of this period, and especially in opera. And so I thought about a lot of the opera warrior type characters, Il Trovatore and Aida and different things like that. And so I kind of took on a sort of an operatic Victorian look to the Chariot. And so forth. So again, the Chariot is someone who is generating movement forward. They're adventurers, they're the go-getter, they're the traveler, They are seeking out new environments. They're meeting new people. They're open to new cultures. They try new things. It also can indicate, if you pull this card, it's just time for change. You need to change things up. Getting into new projects, taking on a new hobby, finding a new passion. That is the Chariot. A card that often goes overlooked and is a powerful card when you pull it is number 8, Adjustment. And we see the scales. And this has a lot of connotations. So the card represents the need for balance, adjustment. But it can mean different types of adjustment. Usually, one aspect of this card which goes overlooked is the ability to just simplify your life. And in modern life, it's amazing how people are just running around wasting time where they could just simplify. Here's an example of this is I live in California and people driving in traffic. I don't waste my time doing that. There's people that commute to work every day on the 405. They spend over $100 worth of gasoline a week, And I purposely chose to work from home and to simplify my life. And because of that, it saves me tons of money, and everything I need is near me. I was fortunate to buy a beautiful Subaru Legacy Town car 2 years ago. Beautiful car. And I realized it's 2 years later and I only have 5,000 miles on my car. It's still brand new. Why? Because I choose not to waste my time in traffic. I simplify my life. I choose to, for example, to shop at 7 and 8 in the morning. So I get to Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, CVS, everywhere I need to shop, and I'm back home by 8:30. I don't waste my time in what I call muggle traffic, and that is part of this card. Is like, how can you simplify your life? Are you a hoarder with tons of clutter in your house? Or is your house put together where you can breathe and enjoy your environment? What are other ways you can simplify your life? Here's an example for me that came up is I realized that in California here, how many people waste their lives at Starbucks spending, $10 on coffee and sugary food, and they do this every day. And I realized, let me add that up. Oh my goodness. I know people that spend over $200 to $300 a month at Starbucks. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to simplify and have wonderful teas in my home and things that are more luxurious. But because I'm not driving and waiting in a drive-through or whatever, I'm saving time in my morning. Anyway, those are just me personally. But, how can you simplify your life? Adjustment usually means something is out of balance. So one thing that always comes up with this card is, are you in debt? And this card usually represents you need to get out of debt. You need to you need to get your finances back in balance. So a lot of people that pull this card, it usually means financing is out of balance, or it means bad organization and bad planning. Are you one of those type people that have tons of business meetings, but you don't mark it down and you forget where you're supposed to be, or you're late? Another thing of adjustment, this is one of my big pet peeves, is people that are tardy. I hate that. Like, if I'm teaching a lesson as a teacher and I say, please show up at 10 o'clock, that's your lesson time, and someone's running it at 10:15, that to me is just fucking rude. I'm sorry. There's no excuse. When I went to college, I got both double bachelor's, double master's, also a fellowship degree. I never was once ever late for school. I was always early to my classes. There was one time in 10 years I missed a class because I got a flat tire, and that was, something that was out of my hands. But what I'm saying is, Where do you need balance? Are you a junk food eater? Do you emotionally eat and your body's out of balance? Maybe this is about diet or getting into better habits. Maybe you're an alcoholic and you need to give that up. You need an adjustment. What habits that are not serving you do you need to let go of? Habits besides addictions, there's also mental habits. Do you tend to be someone that is so mental you can't shut your mind down? Maybe you need meditation, you need an adjustment. Maybe you're like me, you're an introvert and you're home a lot, and I have to, get out, and get fresh air and go to the beach and get in nature. And if I don't do that, I'm out of balance. Am I cultivating relationships that serve my highest good and inspire me and are unconditionally loving? Or do I have toxic people in my life? Maybe this adjustment card is you need to get these toxic people, these energy feeders out of your life. This could also mean adjustments in your family. Are you one of these mother or father doers that is exhausted because you're doing, for your kids to where you're, exhausted and you need to take time for yourself? So that could be it. So the adjustment is kind of like doing that inner work on yourself. Where do you have to make adjustments in your life for your life to work better? Astrologically, this card is the Libra, the scales, and so also this might mean who are the Libra people in your life. Libra people tend to be disciplined and have balance. They tend to the Libras I know in my life. It's interesting. Two of my closest friends are Libras, and one is a Reiki master and a yogi, and she is just radiant goddess. Always looks beautiful, but she's got balance between work and her gardening and her healing and fun time. And the other is an acupuncturist. And he is in his 70s, but a phenomenal Chinese herbalist and doctor. But, he says, I'm taking time for myself. I'm going to go to Palm Springs and just relax. And I need balance between work and fun. And between, exercise and taking really good care of myself. And then eating that chocolate souffle, is a balance. And you need to be able to discriminate to know when you're out of balance. And that's what this card's about, adjustment. So you can take a look at this card and what do you need to change in your life? Finally, one of my favorite cards and one of my archetypes that I connect to very deeply is number 9, the Hermit. And what's interesting in life is living in modern times, most of the world is running around all day long like chickens with their heads cut off and doing. And one thing I've always been great at is retreating. And I found it fascinating that during the COVID years where everybody was in lockdown for 2 years, I had the best years of my life. People were like, I don't know what to do with myself. And because I'm an introvert, I'm like, oh, I'm at a stay-at-home vacation. I'm going to get up and I'm going to use this time to beautify my home. And I'm going to use this time to read the novels I've been wanting to read and get massages and play the piano and study a language. And I was in pure joy. And interestingly enough, I attracted the greatest abundance to me in those years. So while so many people were in fear mode of, oh, I can't work or they're shutting down my business, I had the best 2 years possible. It was fascinating to me. And so the Hermit is that wise person that all they need is themselves. I am that I am. And it's about that ability to go inward, to stay true to yourself. It's about, meditating and self-reflection and letting go of the past, beautifying your home, healing your body and fasting, time alone, hibernation. Working with the sage is for spiritual growth. Releasing hurts and traumas, forgiveness work. And sometimes we have to go inward and take time to move to the next part of our life. Something happens. Someone's been married for 10 years. They get a divorce. They need that hermit time to heal and let go and spiritually mature. And I love the hermit. It's interesting because I also despise cold weather. I hate snow, and I've always been a summer person. So it's interesting that in December, where everybody's running around at Christmas time, making themselves sick, running from party to party and drinking, the runny eggnog and all of that, I just hibernate. I'm like, I'm not doing any of that. And I have my own Christmas rituals, but I'm just fine being alone with a cup of tea and some gingerbread and curling up under the covers by a fireplace and just being. And I find it so interesting. Maybe it's because it's a California thing, is how many people drive themselves into the ground. Like, I see all these people getting, winter flus and being sick and pushing themselves. And I never get sick. I just do the opposite. I go into my hermit shell. And I enjoy being the hermit. The danger of the hermit is that people that are hermits, you sometimes need to get out. So I need more chariot. I need to push myself to meet new people sometimes and stuff. But, I have always been okay with being alone and having my quiet time. And I sometimes say, not dealing with the muggles, just, and I feel blessed with my life as a hermit to be able to work from home part-time, doing my passion, working with only a few choice people that I choose of my students. And then the rest of my days, like spa days, I get massages, I soak in the tub, I go out to nice lunches, I go to the beach, I, get together with friends, things like that. And I like living a quiet hermit life. And I think there's so much that people can learn from that, especially in our modern high-tech world. How many people can actually be okay with just turning their cell phones off for a few hours? How many people can actually turn off their computer and not get into the energy feeding of social media and Facebook? Sure, it has a place in my life. I get on Facebook, but I don't waste 8 hours of my day on Facebook. I set boundaries with people. That's part of being a hermit too, setting appropriate boundaries. So like with my clients and things, I'm unavailable after 7 o'clock. I turn my phone off. And if people want to push against it, they're not getting through. It's about staying in your truth and setting appropriate boundaries. That's part of being a hermit as well. And do you do that? Are you a people pleaser that, runs yourself ragged? Or can you take time for self-reflection and self-replenishing? It's your choice. So there's a lot to be learned from the hermit. I find it fascinating that the hermit number is 9, which is completion, 3 threes. And it's almost like, you've gone through all the doing of the previous major arcana, and now you can just rest, and it's nice to just rest and do nothing. So, give yourself that time to have whatever it is, a cup of tea, a glass of Merlot, soak in the tub. How many people really take the time to do that nowadays? And that's what this is about, that self-love, self-reflection. And to get to a place where that is super healthy, it's also about forgiveness. And that goes with the hermit as well. If something is holding you bound in anger or resentment, how can you truly unwind? Right? So sometimes when you get the hermit card, it might, looking at other cards in the deck, you might have to do some forgiveness or releasing of trauma or releasing of toxic people in your life. The hermit to me represents spiritual maturity. That ability to be, I am that I am, and I don't need to do anything else. Okay? Number 10, Wheel of Fortune. There's my game show voice. And Wheel of Fortune is a fun and interesting card. But it's about trust. True fortune comes from you make your fortune by your thoughts. Are you an abundance consciousness? Prosperity consciousness? Are you optimistic? Or are you a pessimist? Are you a complainer? What you put out to the world, you get back. This, to me, I really love this card in that as part of my spiritual awakening, after some really toxic things that happened to me in the Christian church, I went to the religious science church where I met a lot of really amazing spiritual people. I was a member of the Huntington Beach Church of Religious Science for nearly 20 years, and then the Church of Spiritual Living, which is also religious science in Seal Beach, and also, of course, Michael Beckwith's church, Namaste. And I learned a lot. And the Wheel of Fortune is your thoughts create your reality. So if you're in I am abundant, the universe serves me, then you're creating that good fortune. But if you're a pessimist and like, why does this always happen to me? I hope I'm not getting another bill. I hope my rent doesn't go up. I hope my car doesn't break down. Then you're attracting that to you. So this card is about allowing the universe to serve you because you are God or goddess also. Creating abundance and opportunities is by turning your inner direction towards your thoughts and aligning them with the truth of, I am radiant health. I am unlimitedly abundant. When people pull this card, if they are open, this could mean many gifts from the universe. This could mean a raise at work. This could mean inheritance. This could mean gifts from the universe. This could also mean some kind of major breakthrough that you've been stuck in for a long time. This could be also, just miraculous healing. And I will share some things that happened in my life on that in a second. And it's also greater creativity to draw on. Also manifesting positive relationships that can help you on your life journey. Maybe you manifest the teachers that can help you, or new friends that are going to be true lifelong friends that love you unconditionally instead of people that use you. It's also about getting into just the universal flow. Your word is law. What you say is going to have karmic ramifications. So monitor your thoughts. This is about optimism and releasing negative thoughts that don't serve you. A couple of true stories. So I've always loved games and game shows. And I also love entertainment, of course. And in my 20s, I used to go to Vegas quite a bit with my partner at that time, and I also, as a concert pianist, got to perform in Vegas. So one time I won an international piano competition. I got to meet Liberace about 3 years before he passed away. And on that trip, my partner and I were staying at Caesar's Palace, and we splurged. We had the most luxurious suite, and we were just having a great time. And my partner says to me, honey, here is $200 to just blow. And there was that part of me that goes, oh, that seems like a waste. We shouldn't just blow $200. And he goes, honey, there's more abundance where that came from. So my partner was in unlimited abundance consciousness. And, I was very successful as an entertainer, making great money too. So I was in abundance consciousness. And it was so interesting to me that my family and people I knew, because I was born on February 13th, and I actually turned 13 on Friday the 13th. And I was different. Like a lot of my family is blonde. I have dark hair. People in my family are right-handed. I'm left-handed. And there was this overlay on me that there's like Jimmy is sinister. Jimmy is wrong. Jimmy is queer. Jimmy is bad. And I turned that around to I love the number 13. And I love Friday the 13th. Later on, in the 80s too, there was a television show called Friday the 13th. And it was out of Canada. Not the horror movie series, but the television series with Louise Roby and John de LeMay. And I became friends with that cast and worked with some of those actors. And, Friday the 13th was always lucky for me. And so anyway, when I was with my partner Bill in Vegas, I went to a roulette table and I had the $200 in chips. And I said, put this on Black 13. And people looked at me like I was crazy. You're just some young kid, and oh my God, that's not smart, and you don't know anything, and you should at least just bet on black. You have so many odd chance. And I said, no, I know I'm always abundant. It goes on black 13. And they rolled the roulette, and my partner was had his arms around me. It was really sweet. He's like, honey, you're beautiful. It's gonna, everything's great. Whatever happens. And it turned up 13. And we won $2,000 from that 200. And I took him to see Cher, and we went to see Cher. We had great seats, and we got to meet Cher after the show, and all these great things happened, but it was in our consciousness that it was going to happen. You get it? I believed 100% I was going to win, right? I believed that the universe was going to take care of us. And so I attracted that abundance. There's been time, too, where I've been in severe lack consciousness, the opposite of that, where I remember I had student loan debt after my partner died. And I was like, I don't know how I'm going to pay my bills, and I'm going into more debt, and maybe I'm going to be homeless. And you know what I attracted? I attracted almost being homeless before I got out of that, because it was in my consciousness. And this is a great life lesson card. It can be a hard card for a lot of people because you have to monitor your consciousness. What are you choosing? Are you an optimist in universal flow, or are you in negativity? And this is a really great card for releasing the negative and getting into the positive. Okay? Play Wheel of Fortune.